Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Podcast Strikes Back. My name is George, and you're listening to our brand new weekly show. And joining me today are the usual suspects, Connor.
Hello.
And Benny.
Hello.
Something very loud's going on outside.
Someone's destroying something or building something, one or the other. So, this is our new show.
Here we at.
It's very much like the old show. But what we wanted to do is go from just bringing you kind of the top 8 news stories, because what we found is sometimes we were really stretching to get those 8 stories, and they weren't relevant, they weren't interesting. And this seemed like a really good week to do it because there was sweet fuck all out there that happened in the news world.
Yeah, next week we're going to be bringing you 2 news stories. Keep downsizing.
Yeah, so there's a few more fun segments. What came out a few years ago, top 3 films of certain directors.
Another special edition, none of us are wearing pants.
Yeah.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that, man. It's a podcast.
Well, we never wear pants, so
I know,
it's completely normal. So we're still going to do some news stories, but we just want to be a little bit more selective.
Keep that pedigree, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only want the cream of the crop.
So wait till you see what we've got in store for you this week.
But yeah, let's kick things off with what we watched this week. All of us saw Spider-Man. All of us saw Baby Driver. But did you guys sit at home, get the fire a-burning, put on a flick?
It was a lovely setup, but no, I saw something else in the cinema. I had the pleasure of seeing The Fifth Element on the big screen.
Oh, nice. That's on this afternoon
with
as well.
600 other people. This is the 20th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
Amazingly enough. It's a beautiful 4K restoration of a film that I grew up with and absolutely love and have not seen in quite a few years. And I got to say, watching on the big screen was just a fantastic experience.
No doubt. I've never seen it on the big screen.
Yeah, I hadn't either. Just an amazingly kind of realized production, really good looking film. Still, the special effects are kind of a mixed bag, but the stuff that's like practical and puppets and models still looks fantastic.
Those aliens at the beginning always freaked me out. The really spherical
turtle guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the grey dudes with the animatronic faces.
It always had a bit of a weird off-kilter vibe.
It's definitely a French film.
Definitely a French film, and definitely kind of freaked me out a little bit as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, you just got that whole sequence, like an action scene set to an opera song with the diva, the blue lady. Just really cool, weird stuff.
It was amazing it got made.
Yeah, it was the most expensive French film for a very long time, I think. Now Valerian.
I was about to say Valerian has now just taken...
Well, that production's huge. It's like almost 300 million or something.
Oh, massive.
Yeah. And it shows.
Looks, visually and stunning. So
yeah, like
I was trying to think of a different word than stunning, because that's how I just described
Stunning.
but yeah, just really cool seeing that on the big screen. Ooh, that movie is definitely made or broken for most people by Chris Tucker, I think, who I love. So
His hair is so great.
Oh man, Ruby Rod is a character for the ages. I'm so into it. The movie was hysterical, and there was just applause at several points throughout the film. There's nothing like seeing a classic film with just a huge audience of fans.
Yeah, and seeing it up on the big screen, I think that's probably why cinema won't die. Just because there is legitimately something special to seeing a film on a big screen,
on the big canvas,
with big sound.
More and more, I struggle to rewatch films at home, and I got a big ass TV, but it's just like I want to see it on the big screen.
It's the sound. I really think it's the sound.
And I spoke about this last time with Mad Max. Watching Mad Max on my TV, and again, I'm like, I got a big ass TV, I've got a nice sound system, but it's just not the same.
Yeah,
I remember coming out of that movie theater the first time after watching Mad Max, and I was basically shaking. Yeah, George.
Oh man.
You want me to go, and then you go?
You go. I've got to think. Wow. Okay.
How did you not see this coming?
Oh, this is so unexpected.
I'll go. So
what the hell am I doing?
This week I finished up House of Cards season 5.
Cool. Space.
Took you a while.
Yeah. Well, I've
heard it's not the best season. That's a yes.
No, well, it's really hard
Confirmed.
to... This is... The way that I normally watch shows, like I binge and I go through it because I can't stop. This is one of the only shows that I can't do that. And I really love this show, but it is really kind of dense.
Is Kate Mara still in it?
No.
Not
Mate,
interested.
come on. Have you seen season
no,
2?
look-
No,
Spoilers.
I don't care. I've seen 6 episodes. I'm not going to watch it.
For anyone that enjoys House of Cards, I think they'll enjoy season 5. I think that they really ramp it up. You know, one of the things that I found about this that was really eerie is that it reflected real life a little bit too much. It was kind of as if there was this, and they've talked about this. You know, Kevin Spacey's gone on talk shows and talked about this. There's something a little bit prophetic about this TV show because, you know, when they were filming it, none of this shit with Trump and America was happening, and what's happening in the show kind of mirrors what's happening now. It's a bit eerie. But yeah, ultimately, I still enjoyed it.
Spacey's the man.
No, Robin Wright in this one, man.
Oh, yeah. But you got a massive crush on her. So.
Oh, yeah. But even just beyond that, she is absolutely amazingly good in this.
Yeah, I always liked the dynamic between them.
Yeah.
And they were kind of using each other.
Yeah,
but they loved each other it was an interesting relationship that they were able to carve out.
Stop stalling, George. What did you watch?
Yeah, this series very much plays on their relationship and in a very interesting way, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Highly recommend it.
Nice.
George, it's you now. Like this is
So a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I've been kind of watching Buffy with my fiance Ash, and she's been plowing through it. She watched from season 3 to season 7, and I've been watching along the way. Amazing show, absolutely love it. Just reconfirmed everything in my head. But we actually finished it, and we're watching the final episode of season 7.
Ooh.
And it is so bad. It is so bad.
the finale.
It is so bad. Like, it is really terrible.
Wait, is that the end of the show? The very end?
Yeah. And the CG in it.
That's throughout the whole series. So.
Yeah, I know, but they go for this Lord of the Rings thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Buffy, this must have been about 2000, 2002, and Lord of the Rings might have just come out, and you can see they try to go for it.
2003.
Like, give it this really epic kind of feel in this last battle, and it just felt so out of place for Buffy because Buffy's always been like Monster of the Week, like her kicking 6 vampires' ass in a graveyard. You know, it's very low key. And they tried to just take it up to this other level that felt very jarring.
Not ready for
But
it.
anyway, that show was done by that stage, I think.
It was done a bit earlier. I bounced after the
6, right?
The finale, where it changed networks. And
Because Ash and I were talking about that and how the tonal change, there was a big tonal change.
I can't speak on that because I watched half an episode afterwards. And then
It's
never
not
came
as
back.
big as you think.
Yeah.
But there's some elements where it goes a little bit further than it did previously.
It was a good ending that previous season.
Yeah.
It was a great season, solid finale.
Yeah.
A good way to just tie it off, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, let's get into the news. What do we got up first, Connor?
All right. So this week we have our number one story is Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk is about to receive one of the largest 70mm releases in 25 years.
The largest.
It is the largest.
That's the story.
Sorry.
Love it. Love it. Bring on that 70mm.
Hell yeah.
I saw Titanic about a week ago on 70mm. It was a fantastic experience. It really adds to that cinema experience, I think.
I do have to ask you, do you think that how much of it is you going in thinking like I'm watching 70mm and being a bit of a hipster about it?
Definitely,
100%.
definitely. But you know what? You get the artifacts in the image. So like a digital projection will be note perfect. You know, you won't get any blemishes or anything. But with 70mm or celluloid, you know, you get those speckles on the screen, and it's actually kind of moving a little bit up and down. So it gives it is a different viewing experience, and I think there is a reason why it's hanging around, because it adds. It's a better experience in my opinion. I miss watching celluloid.
Whenever I hear this, I kind of think about people that really enjoy listening to records.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yes, there is a sound to that,
but it's also the experience. Like with a record, you can't skip to track 5. You're listening to an album.
Yeah.
So it's an experiential thing. That I think that's kind of where I'm going with the 70 mil thing.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I was just kidding there. I think the differences with film and 70 millimeter especially are very apparent, and they really stand out and change the experience quite a lot. And it's not just like watching film. Like you go in not knowing you're watching film and just be like, that movie looked really different. It was really gorgeous for some reason.
It's not as bright as well.
I was going to say there's a different in color.
Yeah. There's a richness, there's a density. It's different.
The aspect ratio is completely different.
Yeah.
In some cases.
I feel like you can mimic that in digital.
Oh yeah, you can. You can slap on a vintage color grade or whatever, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be real. It's not going to be that analog.
But I think that's where it comes into the fact of you're going into a cinema thinking I'm watching film, because ultimately, if I put a digital in front of you and a film in front of you, one of which has been color graded to look like film,
I don't think so.
You could 100% tell the difference.
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
absolutely.
It's not the same. I mean, there's a reason why film is so great. There's a reason why, if you watch a film like Seven, the grading they did on that was analog. They dipped the film in chemicals to change the look of it. There's something about that analogness that has an X factor. I come from a bit of an audio background. A lot of old timers used to record on tape, and it has a sound. Analog has a sound. In a lot of ways, it's a better experience.
Yeah, we just had the Hateful Eight. Was it last year before?
A while back now.
That was on 70 mil released here,
big
which
release.
that was certainly the first kind of new release film in a long time to be.
Yeah.
A lot of cinemas had to bring in either back up from the basement, bring in their projectors or rent or buy new ones.
But I think cinemas know that that people are watching at blockbusters at home. People are watching Netflix now. There's so much content to be consumed at home. What's bringing you into the cinema? And these kind of special experiences, watching on 70 mil, will bring in the crowds. And I think that's where the model's going.
Well, Tarantino himself and the Weinsteins, I think, actually installed 70 millimeter projectors all over America for the Hateful Eight. And now it's cool to see other films taking advantage of that.
Hell yeah. And then the trailer dropped as well, bundled with this. I saw it when we were watching Homecoming. I think this film, just on my gut reaction, I think the spectacle's there, but I'm just not sure if the characters are there. I don't know if Cillian Murphy or Tom Hardy will be utilized. I don't know if they're going to get enough, because Nolan is such a plot-centric director, and I'm not seeing any characters in this. I'm seeing more of an overall grand scale plot thing. And will I be emotionally invested in this story? I'm not sure.
My main concern with this one is going to be pacing, I think. I feel like this will have a drag in it.
No. See, that's what I'm really excited for beyond anything, because I'm not really into war films. I go on and off with Nolan a bit, but this movie is about 100 minutes long, I think, which blows my mind for a Nolan movie. I can't wait to see what he does.
Is it really only 100 minutes?
Yeah. Which is so exciting. I can't wait to see what he does.
That's
with
insane.
because his last couple have been too long.
Yeah. Like Interstellar was like 2.5 hours.
Really.
So cool. And also, just going on the war film thing, is Nolan's come out and said that this is more of a suspense thriller as opposed to a war film. So you're not going to get Saving Private Ryan, D-Day, Bloodbath.
I just mean as a setting.
Definitely. But listen, I'm glad they're doing this. Is he doing IMAX for this? He probably is. I mean, he's an IMAX fiend.
And to follow up from this, a little bit later in the show, George will be doing his top 3 Nolan films, so required viewing.
Yeah, like the beginner's guide to Nolan.
Yeah, so we'll be able to critique him on that.
For all you people out there who've never seen a Nolan film.
Yeah, that's when you first mentioned it, I was like, for those people that don't know who Nolan is.
Well, maybe I should do the obscure Nolan films then. Maybe I'm going to change my list right now.
It's too late for that.
On the fly.
All right, moving on. Our next story is Matt Reeves talks about the upcoming Batman films.
Lots of stuff he said this week.
Yeah,
films. What?
Who would have thought? Let's go from the top. Matt Reeves rules. He's the man as far as I'm concerned. I'm pumped for Planet of the Apes. I'm glad he was the guy chosen to take over from Affleck.
I forgot Affleck was even directing.
Do you think this is better or worse than having Affleck at the helm?
Better.
Better.
He's a better director. Affleck's last film sucked.
Which one was
I
his
didn't
last
see that.
film?
What was it?
Live by Night.
Live by Night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone
Oh, right.
hated that. That bombed so
Did
hard.
you-
It's
did you
crazy.
see it?
Poor Affleck. No, I didn't.
Well, how do you know it sucked then?
I saw parts of it.
But I think
No,
it bombed
no.
because people aren't into gangster films. I think if
Yeah.
this had came out in 1994, people would have loved it.
I
Because
feel
gangster
like-
films were big.
I feel
But
like
I
the
think there's
issue-
plenty of examples that fly in the face of that. I think there's gangster films that have done well lately, and I think there's gangster
I
films
can't
that
think
have
of
done,
one.
I can't think of any either. But no,
I think this is more a marketing issue than an actual like bad film, and that's when I read up about this film, and this is a while ago. That was the main criticism that I saw coming out was that there's a massive marketing failure on this.
I didn't watch the whole film. I've seen parts of it. It's definitely a bad film problem.
From parts of it.
Yeah. I mean, don't act like you can't watch a scene of a movie and be like, "Oh, this is bad." And from the reviews I've read, apparently it was just a bit of a shit fest.
Yeah, right.
and-
That sucks
and
because he was Affleck was like
He was on a roll,
he was on a roll and a half.
and it was a big comeback for him because he was a joke for a while there.
Yeah.
In the mid 2000s or whatever. But I've actually never. I don't like him as an actor particularly, and I'm really not very fond of him as a director. Like I like his films. I think they're solid, and I think that's as good as they are.
Do you like The Town?
I get a
love
lot
The
of
Town.
praise. I think The Town's really
Town's by far his best film.
Gone
I
Girl.
think.
good. I didn't.
Oh, he didn't direct that. Sorry,
Gone Baby Gone.
Gone
That's
Baby.
what
That's
you're
what I was
thinking
trying
of,
to think.
Yeah, Gone Baby Gone. I thought is my favorite. I think, and I think it's kind of gone down from there. I didn't like Argo very much, and that film had so much praise heaped on it. I'm like, ugh,
Yeah.
Argo, fuck yourself.
It's pretty by the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck yourself.
But yeah, the big news out of this is that he's talking about doing a trilogy. I say big news as if shock and awe. He's doing a trilogy.
Well, I mean, Matt Reeves is just capping off a trilogy, so no wonder he's like, I could do another 3 films now, and I can say these things, and people like me,
Yeah,
and they're probably
and they will
going
pay
to
me
let
to do more of these films. I'll be interested to see if the DCU has 3 Batman films in it.
I think it does.
I think they want to make like 1 million Batman.
I know.
Yeah.
I know they.
I think
want
the world's
to.
like, make more Wonder Woman, and they're like,
what-
no, let's just make a lot of Batman.
What DC wants to do and what DC has been able to do have been 2 completely different things.
No, DC wants to make Batman. I'm talking about DC films, DC comics. All they want to do is Batman. That's all they ever do. How many Batman films are there?
By far the most out of any character in the DC.
Out of any character.
yeah.
There's so many Batman movies. Like, of all these characters, these amazing characters they have, what are there? There's a lot of Superman movies in the old days, but there's one now, one modern one, and there's already, like, we've had 3 different Batman in 5 different Batman? Jesus Christ. I can't keep up.
Yeah, so what do we had? We had the Nolan trilogy. We had
But in our
Batman v
lifetime-
Superman.
Oh, in our lifetime, yeah.
In our lifetime, there was Keaton,
Yeah.
Kilmer, Clooney. Ooh, sensing a pattern. Bale, Affleck.
Bale.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're getting
But-
more.
yeah,
But I think Matt Reeves, I think he's a natural extension to take over from Nolan. Because Nolan, I really loved his films, but the Rises film, I don't know if that was
It was a bad film.
It wasn't bad. I just think it
was.
was the beginning of Nolan's kind of little bit of a downturn from Inception.
It was the first 2, certainly The Dark Knight, are on some real special level.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
It doesn't get anywhere near that.
I love Batman Begins. I think people sour on that and talk about the 3rd act being a mess, which maybe it is, but I really love the origin story in that. I love how much it changed the game, and I still think it holds up.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. I have a love-hate relationship with that trilogy because I think that I blame that for the DC's current style.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because-
it's reactionary.
Yeah, because oh god, I can't think of his name now. Fuck. The guy that did the Death and Return of Superman, the internet video.
Max Landis.
Max Landis, thank you. Max Landis did a really good video about how when the studios saw how successful the dark and gritty Nolan films were, they're like, we can take this and push it to a new level. And that's, I mean, The Dark Knight is as dark as Batman should go. Like that's the dark and gritty side of Batman. And
that was still PG-13.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Batman really shouldn't go beyond that.
I
Like
don't know.
we should not see an R-rated Batman. Like,
I don't know. I think
have
that'd be
no
awesome.
desire for that.
I think that'd be so cool.
I mean, it's just,
I don't think we need it. I thought they
pick another
accomplished
property
everything
to
about
do
the
it.
character they needed to with The Dark Knight.
I just
Yeah.
want to see blood.
I just want to see Batman machine gunning people.
Yeah. So
That'll be good.
Oh wait,
DC
wait,
had
we
this
already
formula.
have.
DC had this formula where they're like, fuck, if we go gritty, if we go dark,
Yeah.
that equals money. And they pushed it too far, which is why we have the current
Man of
iteration
Steel.
of the DCEU.
Yeah. I mean, Man of Steel was a Nolan produced film as well, and then I
was.
think they reverse engineered the DCEU around that film. And now it's going in its whole other direction with Zack Snyder. Well, I mean, Zack Snyder directed Man of Steel, but I feel like it was different. I feel like he was trying to mimic Nolan's style a bit more in that one.
Man of Steel was very much Batman Begins with Superman.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of spinning off into other crazy directions.
Yeah. But anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Matt Reeves before moving on. He said an interesting quote here where he said, "I would be lying if I could tell you that the Arcs of Apes was already planned out," because it wasn't. So he's referring to the Apes trilogy here. "It's one of those things where that character was so potent and the possibility was embedded from the beginning. But exactly how we've got from A to Z is not something that existed." I love this. I really, really love this. And I think we talked about it last week while I was talking with you guys off mic about how the Apes films kind of felt like they were just trying to nail and execute that film on its own accord, and then they would figure out the sequel.
Yeah.
And I think that has been the success.
Yeah, but this for me kind of freaks me out a little bit simply because we're talking about a shared universe here. Like this kind of quote would never fly in a Marvel shared universe because everything is connected, everything is well thought out. You know, what happens, 5 movies back affects what happens in movie now.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're making it up as they go. Just like every other franchise
Well, I
is.
mean,
And it's
if
refreshing
you-
to hear them be honest about that.
It depends on how far you move back. Like everyone's just making it up as they go.
I think
But
they're
there's
making it up
certainly-
more as they go than we think.
Absolutely. We give Feige a lot of credit, and he's doing a great job. But come on, if you actually go back to like some Phase 1 stuff, you'd be like, this what? This clearly they have no idea what direction they're taking.
I think they more have like for example, in Homecoming, they want to put in damage control. That's a point. Okay, we want to hit that, but how it weaves into the overall story, maybe that kind of goes on its own course.
Yeah, I don't know. When I watch a Marvel film, at least nowadays, I feel like, and not to their detriment or anything, but I feel like it's planned. Like this is meant to be here. And maybe you're right about the first couple Phase films, but I mean, now we're 4 or 5 films into the DCEU?
Yeah, 4.
4?
Yes.
I feel like there's, that is not a liberty that they have at this point.
I think it's good. I think for Batman especially, you can just kind of wing it.
Yeah. Anyways,
Very excited for that one though.
Oh yeah, Matt Reeves.
Staying in the realm of superhero films, there's been a buzz lately around a new kid-friendly Fantastic Four reboot that is apparently in the works. I don't know
Josh
what that
Trank
means.
coming back to he's patched things up with the studio and ready for that second.
So do you
chance.
know what it means by in the works? Like, is that
It's a
are they
rumor.
they're just talking about the possibility of it happening, right?
I mean, they're always talking about this one. And I think we've put this in here because it's an interesting franchise. Fox have cocked up 2 sets of iterations.
Yeah, I'd love to just follow the trials and tribulations of the team that is kind of workshopping the Fantastic Four over the years. It must just go down to the bottom rung. It's like, all right, we're going to sit on this for a couple of years,
Yeah.
see what you can come up with.
Do you think there's a good movie in there?
I
You
think
can absolutely make a good Fantastic. You can make a
You
good
know,
movie out
you
of
know
anything.
what?
They're not
What we
going to.
might say for another episode is we'll give our individual pitches for what we think
yeah, that'd be good.
Fantastic Four film should be.
I like that. I think you've got to get a little meta with it. You've got to deconstruct it because, stretchy arm guy, invisible girl, Human Torch, these, they're very, very standard. They're very stuck in the 60s. Radiation, that kind of like retro thing. And it's hard to do it now because that doesn't really connect. And that's been the problem. That was the problem with all the Fantastic Four films because they've always kind of just been a bit like in a bit of a nothing.
Well, yeah, with the original films, not the Corman one from the 90s, but with the Chris Evans era ones, they played it very straight, and I think that's probably the best they did with it. Then with the most recent one. They tried to deconstruct it, and that went off the rails like crazy. This newest one, it looks like they're doing something very different again. They're supposedly going very kid-friendly with it, and it's going to focus on Reed Richards and Susan Storm's kids.
Okay.
Franklin and Valeria, and it's going to have the Thing and Human Torch with them. And there's just kind of no word on Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, if they're even going to be part of this.
That sounds like it's at least it's flipping and on its head a little bit and doing something a little bit different.
The inspiration that keeps getting cited is The Incredibles, which is the best Fantastic Four movie you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
100%. Fuck, I guess, go for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Anyway, the draft's being written by Seth Grahame-Smith, who he's the author of the novels Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So interesting pick.
Yeah, I quite liked Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. It was I remember that day very clearly, and I remember him riding the horses, the CG horses.
I remember watching it and going like, this guy should make a Fantastic Four movie.
What do you think, Connor? What do you think about a Fantastic Four film?
I don't care, to be honest. I just don't think it's a property that. I mean, we've mentioned this before. This is something that should be locked in a vault for about 10 years. I don't know why this is something that people think has relevance now. Not just in terms of, subject matter, but just there are so many other superheroes and properties to work on and or even
not if you're
on.
Fox Studios. Then you've got X-Men and this.
Make it work.
Yeah, I don't think that it would have to be something completely different. Like they've tried essentially the same thing twice.
I think the first half of the Josh Trank one, I've said this before, was really, really impressive. And the second half was crushingly bad. I think if they'd stayed the course, whatever the expression is, remained on course for that first half, that could have been a really cool film. A 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 kind of film.
From the moment we saw the origin of the line, it's clobbering time, as Ben Gribb's older brother tried to beat him up. I'm like,
don't mention the bit as the kids.
I know what this movie is, and it's the fucking worst.
Don't mention the intro. All right?
Don't mention the intro.
You're not supposed to do that.
Despite the fact that it's in the first half, which is amazing, right?
The bit when they're like 30-year-old guys at a children's science fair or something. What was happening in that?
That was quite bizarre.
And they made that thing disappear to another dimension.
Yeah.
And they was like, well, that's you have failed at this science experiment. How is that not amazing? They made a thing disappear. Anyway, man, that movie is so bad.
Yeah. Some more comic book news.
Yay!
Stretching it this week. Samuel L. Jackson is going to be coming, or is reportedly coming back as Nick Fury for Captain Marvel.
What? This is crazy.
This is cool. We haven't seen him in a while since Age of Ultron.
Yeah, why?
In which he had a small role. He retired.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I get confused with the
Sam Jackson. Like, how many people retire and come back 2 episodes later? Where is he?
Yeah, I get confused about the order that movies came out in.
It goes by year and date.
Thank you, George. Massive help to have
her. You're stealing my bit, man.
What was I going to ask? No, you fucked it up, George.
You get confused about the order
it definitely
the movies
wasn't going to be
in.
something insightful, so we can probably move on.
No,
I was just going to wonder, because he was in... Winter Soldier came out before Age of Ultron, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That was my confusion.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, there we go.
Nothing overly exciting.
So is he Captain Marvel's coming out after Avengers 3 and before
Avengers 4.
Avengers 4.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah. Which means if he's only returning for that, I would have thought he would have come back for the next Avengers film.
He's back in them.
So he's back in 3?
He's confirmed to be in Infinity War. Of course, everyone's in Infinity War.
Okay, cool.
Name a Marvel character there in there. But I think this is cool. I would like to see him in a kind of a stronger supporting role again.
Yeah.
I really liked him in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
In his kind of enhanced role in that. And it's just more Sam Jackson. It's always good.
Yep. And Captain Marvel, all eyes are on that. First female-led solo Marvel film.
About bloody time.
Hopefully it's a good one.
Wouldn't it be amazing if it's the one bad film in the MCU?
That would suck.
Just
really
the
every
whole
troll
4
on the internet.
phases or
It's
3 phases.
like it's not even bad. It's just like ridiculously below average.
No, I mean like just horrendously. Like it's like Fantastic Four.
Holy fuck! It's the beginning of the end. Imagine that, and then Avengers 4 sucks,
And
and
then
then we're like,
and
I
no
have
one-
no meaning in my life anymore.
No one makes a female-led movie ever
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Like all Wonder Woman movies
Fuck.
get cancelled.
Everyone that, like,
DCEU
yeah.
pulls the plug on everyone. Did you see what happened to Captain Marvel? Did you see?
Gal Gadot's just
Just
fired in his
just
face.
a bunch of people rocking back and forth. We were so close.
Oh
Hopefully
well,
that doesn't happen. But
Yeah,
thanks for
hopefully
guessing us.
it's the best.
yeah.
All right, moving on.
It's time for
Go on.
you're supposed to get in there, boys. Come on. What is it time for?
Don't make it. No, don't make it. Don't make it weird.
I don't even know what it's time for, so I can't help.
We're pulling up trailer time.
Trailer time!
Trailer time. So we got 3 trailers
Why
this
do you
week.
make me hate myself? Yeah. Well, look, we've actually got 2.
Why do you hate me? Hate myself? What did you say? That's
Why
so
do you
good.
make me hate myself? We've actually got 2, but we wanted to talk about a third one that we didn't have a chance to talk on the podcast over the last 6 months.
We had a chance, we just didn't want to.
We just said no.
It just flew under the radar for us, and we'd like to bring it up now
Hmm.
because it hasn't been talked about.
And that trailer is.
No, we're not going to start with it. We'll finish it on it.
Don't build it up like that. And
It gives intrigue, so people
little
Stick around.
Little bit of
little
clickbait.
sizzle on the steak.
yeah. there you go.
clickbait. Scroll to the bottom of the blog article before you get the juicy
I took
story.
a marketing course once. No, the first is the new Geostorm trailer.
Geostorm.
We talked about this probably about a month or 2 back when the first one came out.
Yeah,
It was a pretty unanimous decision that this was going to be shit.
I was on board.
Yeah,
I was the
no,
only one.
I think it looks
Oh, you were on
pretty-
board.
I was.
Oh, you're a shitty person.
I think it looks like
guys.
fantastically
Yeah.
stupid. I'm kind of into that.
I am very much over the big disaster films. I just get so bored during them. I don't think that there is
Inconsequential CGI mess.
well, yeah, that, but also the plot is just, it's literally running away from things. And I get very bored by that if it's just, I mean, I know I just described the plot to Mad Max, which is possibly one of my favorite films of all time. But
Yeah, it needs to have some other ingredients in there.
it has to have something. And
I
mean,
think this one
Gerard
does.
Butler is not it.
and Gerard
I think this
Butler is not
does.
it. Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Oh,
The tech in this, man. The tech. It's just it's just amazing.
Which is why you're interested
I'm
in it.
amazed. I'm so into it. This is the future. We're looking into the future.
But this
of
is like the
humanity.
most basic of sci-fi grabs. Show you a bit of cool tech and then fuck everything
so
else.
the trailer opens with the line along the lines of we have satellites that have stopped all natural disasters, and I pray that is the only explanation given to that technology in the film. I really think that'd be awesome.
I'm on board with this.
I thought this trailer sucked.
Really?
I really liked the first one a lot more because it was so self-serious. Remember, it had that song
Yeah.
that was really brooding, and I think when you're gonna do a big, crazy, dumb sci-fi action thing, it should take itself really seriously, and then it might be a bit of fun. But this is trying to be funny,
Yeah.
trying to be fun, and I'm like, oh, this looks.
I think
This
they've
movie actually did the self-title thing. Like he said, it's gonna be a Geostorm.
He said the thing.
Look, this movie, it was a bit of a dumb, potentially for some people, entertaining mess before when you're talking about that serious trailer. For people that enjoy that kind of destruction shit, sweet. But it's trying to be more than it is. Like it's trying to be this quirky, funny, sci-fi, interesting.
and it's clearly a reaction to the first trailer. I think they know we've got to mix it up a little bit. Marketing department, let's whip up something a little funnier. It had the more of a rock and roll kind of song, rock and or roll. And
if the marketing department is listening, just stop.
No, just release a trailer that makes this movie look like every genre, like just one at a time. Go through the genres, and you'll just keep hitting people.
I'm on board.
I don't want to watch it ever.
This is. I mean, I think about the movies that I haven't wanted to watch previously in this year, so like Transformers and Pirates of the Caribbean, which ended up being my most hated films. But at least they elicited some level of strong emotion, I guess.
What?
Like this
Hate.
one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
hatred.
exactly. Hate, but at least I feel something. This makes me feel so dead inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the
I know that
prospect of
feeling
seeing
well.
this film
It's the Gerard Butler effect.
GB. Got a bit of GB today.
It's not even Gerard. I'll be honest. It's not even Gerard Butler. It's literally
Gerard Butler.
the whole premise of this film. It's the whole, we're going to go capture the president of the United States. And
the president
go
is
on an
Andy
adventure.
Garcia. Fuck yes. That was awesome.
I have no
bit's good,
issues
yeah.
with the casting in this film. Like it is such a small thing to me at this point. It's the fact that
Who's the Aussie girl in this? She was in Sucker Punch.
Abby Cornish.
Abby Cornish. Nice to see her.
She's great, yeah.
Around.
She deserves a lot better.
Yeah, she does.
yeah. Look, this film is so. I'm not excited for this film. It
Bring on the Geostorm, I say.
Geostorm. The other trailer that's come out is a movie that looks good, but a trailer that I guess it was good. Just doesn't give us much to talk about. The new Atomic Blonde trailer.
Female John Wick. Jane Wick.
Yeah, which I'm down for.
Yeah.
I mean, if this look, to be honest, if this is of the quality of John Wick, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I'm in agreement.
I love Charlize Theron. I love
Who? What? Charlize? Who's that?
How do you pronounce her name?
Charlize.
Well, we're not all South African, all right?
Yeah, my good dog, Charlize.
Actually, her pronouncing her name like in properly is
Improperly.
is amazing. Anyways,
Sorry, I'm being a douchebag right now.
I noticed.
It was because I was talking about Fantastic Four before, and you eyeballed me so hard. Like, what the fuck is this talking about? And I was like, fuck you.
This is like when you get onto some of your rants sometimes.
Yeah, and then you know what? I come and I
feel
bring
your-
it around. And you're like, oh, yeah, I see your face.
But like
yeah,
as it starts out, I can see you
Yeah.
trying to figure out what you're talking about.
of course.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like
it's just
pushing something down a hill and just like help it trying to guide it. Like it's going.
It's
Do we go
going.
left? Do we go right?
This is happening. There's no way I'm stopping it at this point.
What's the odds that this is a shared universe? Is this on the same production
Blonde.
company as John
John
Wick?
Can we
Wick?
still
What? That is the most. I don't even know. That's such a out of left field.
No, this is based on a graphic novel or something, I think.
Oh damn,
Yeah. What a shame.
that would have been cool.
Look, I'm excited to see the film. What I was going to say is it's got what is it? Charlize
Sherry Theron's. Oh my!
and James McAvoy, both of whom
Your clone.
yes, James McAvoy.
He was cloned from you and accelerated in age.
Yeah. Look, I don't know if you guys have any strong opinions about this film.
Nope. I don't
This trailer.
I have nothing to say about this
Yeah,
film.
I have very little to say. I think it could
It
be
looks
a cool
cool.
action flick.
The only thing I have to say about this film is that I didn't want to talk about it today.
Yeah. Really stretching it today. The
Here we go. The film
Other
you were
trailer.
talking about. What is it?
that was actually released like 6 months ago, but we haven't had a chance to talk about or haven't had the will to talk about, is the Lego Ninjago trailer.
Hell yeah.
We've talked a lot about how we're all massive fans of the Lego franchise, and how Lego has consistently come out with excellent films where we did not expect them to come out with that caliber of film. And I've got to be honest, when I first heard that they were doing an Ninjago movie, I doubted.
It just
Once
bounced
again, I
right off
doubted.
me. I was like, Ninjago is like fidget spinners or something. It just
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So I don't think I
That's
ever
a good
even.
analogy.
Yeah, I'd never even actually bothered to watch the trailer until the other day I saw it on the big screen. I'm like, this looks hilarious. This
Yeah.
looks exactly like the other two.
Yeah. And it looks of the caliber of the other two. And
Like the design and the
Oh
CG.
man, all those big mech suits are fucking
Jeez,
awesome.
they look incredible.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I wondered to myself, like, why did I ever doubt? Like, what could have led me to doubt? Like, they haven't failed on a delivery yet.
You just didn't trust in yourself.
Yeah, so it's cool to see them kind of step away from the existing characters and franchises
Yeah.
and do something a little more original.
Yeah.
And to see it still look pretty cool.
I'm 100% in agreement. I think this looks fantastic. The level of detail in these cities and the landscapes. Ninjago was something that I just didn't give a shit about, but I'm so on board and I'm ready for it.
I think with this film, this can officially become a shared universe technically as
Yeah.
well. Because this is 3 unrelated films set in the same
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that Lloyd joke really got me laughing.
Lloyd, I named you.
How could I have ruined your life? I wasn't even there.
Wait, that's coming out soon, right?
Like September.
Hell yeah.
Bring it on.
Bring
But
it.
there's been next to no marketing for this film.
It'll ramp up.
Yeah.
It'll go crazy, I'm sure.
Yeah. They'll
Like,
start
remember,
spamming
Lego
our
Batman
lives.
was everywhere.
It was, but I felt like there was more of a ramp up. Like, I mean, this is a couple months away. Like, this should be.
Remember seeing that Lego Batman bus? I think you talked about it in the review.
Hmm.
On the decaled bus or whatever, the advertising bus.
Yeah.
And just seeing this fuck off yellow sign saying Lego Batman, being like, that's
Yeah.
coming out soon.
That's a thing that exists
totally
in our
That's
world.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Those are the trailers.
Trailer
That's about-
time is done.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into a couple of the newer segments. First of which is we wanted to talk about what happened, what came out 7.5 years ago. We've probably got to think of a catchier title
7
No, I think you should do-
years
and
ago.
a better delivery.
You should deliver it like that every time, I think. That's the way.
I'm
Actually, can we
thinking
use
of
that,
doing-
just that clip?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just play it
Just
every
fly
time.
it in every episode.
Yeah. Maybe put some music behind it. Sweet. No, look, we just wanted to
Reminisce.
reminisce.
Little retrospective for you.
Yeah.
What came out 7.5 years ago? It was Daybreakers. Not a film I've seen, so
Very, very cool film by the Spirig brothers, Australian directors. They did a cool little indie horror film before this called... The name escapes me right now, but it got a lot of buzz. We'll look up the name so we can kind of qualify this and sound like we're
You're the one
experts.
talking. Surely you should look it up.
No, my hands
Don't
are.
put that on us.
My hands are by my side right now. I can't move them. And yeah, I love this film. It is very B movie. It's a small budget.
Yeah.
But it's got Sam Neill. And a bunch of other people.
Ethan Hawke, Willem
Ethan
Dafoe.
Hawke, that's right.
Yeah. Sam Neill in a very small
that's
role.
right.
are you talking about Undead?
Undead?
Or,
Undead.
Oh, they're doing Saw Legacy.
Yep. And it kind of revolves around vampires, and it gives it
Kind of very much revolves around that.
kind of possibly.
It's kind of the entire premise of the film.
But it's done in a way where the vampires kind of coexist in a society. But the scale of the film is so small that you never really see the society.
Yeah.
Which I love. But it's cool. It's imaginative.
It's a cool premise.
Yeah.
It's a future where vampires have essentially taken over as the dominant species on Earth.
Yep.
And they farm humans for blood like we farm cattle.
Yep.
And it's pretty gruesome stuff, but it's kind of an interesting natural conclusion to vampire lore.
Yeah, and then like people like go to blood banks and buy blood, and there's a shortage.
It feels like a future to the Blade films or something.
Yeah. It's not anything incredible, but I think if you're searching for a sci-fi horror B movie, something fun, 100 minutes or so,
High
just to
concept
chuck on.
sort of.
Yeah. This is a highly, highly enjoyable film. I might even chuck it on this afternoon.
It's a good looking movie too.
Oh, it looks so
Really
good. The
gorgeous.
grading, like it has a very cool, lots of blues. It's a great looking film.
When as it should in a vampire film, when you see the sun, it really hits you.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And bring on the Spirig brothers. They're doing Saw Legacy. I'm
Speaking of them, did you guys enjoy Predestination?
loved
Yeah,
Predestination.
really enjoyed that film. I think
Absolutely loved it.
so it's a real good one to watch twice.
Oh yeah.
Almost in quick succession.
Yep.
You get a very different experience both times.
Very, very different experience.
Yeah, I would definitely chuck that as a recommendation as well. Actually,
Yeah. And hopefully Saw Legacy is pretty decent because
It won't be.
Well, you know what?
It's a Saw film.
if it's a Saw film about vampires and time travel, then
actually, no, I
maybe.
take it back.
I want to play a game.
So yeah, that's
Cool.
that's what came out 7.5 years ago. Moving on, we promised George was going to give his beginner's guide to Nolan, or his top 3 Nolan.
Top 3 Nolan. So Nolan's got Dunkirk coming out soon. He is one of my favorite directors, and I'm just going to give you my top 3 picks for
In order, right?
In an order.
In an order. I'm going to just say them. I'm going to do them in order they came out in his filmography.
I feel like that defeats the purpose of a top 3 list.
But this is more of a primer.
like as in I'm going to say the 3 films that you should watch from his filmography in the years and chronologically
that's
go
sweet.
through.
That's the order you should watch them
Go ahead.
if you're kind of studying a director.
Yeah,
See
exactly.
where they came out.
So the obvious choice here, if you haven't seen this, like go and get it right now. Memento. This is the film that put Nolan on the map. This was his second film, starring Guy Pearce. Very interesting editing and the way the story is told, because the character has a form of amnesia and memory loss. And the film is kind of told in a backwards, reverse chronological way and intercut with a black and white sequence that's happening in a linear fashion. So it sounds very complicated and it is kind of jarring, but there are these little points in the film where you see little bookends meet up between these segments. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating. There's no other film that I've really seen to have this kind of editing style other than maybe like Run Lola Run or...
It's so rare to find a film that effectively does something new. Not just with like plot or, I mean, we can talk about unique, stories and stuff, which is fine. But no, like really does something new with filmmaking.
Yeah, like the medium of film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is one of the only ones that I can think in recent history that has really done something that is...
without it being super experimental.
Well, and this is why I say effectively. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people doing some weird shit with film that you're like, just like... Fine, that's great. You're doing your little experimental shit,
yeah.
but that's not really entertainment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
That's experimentation.
I agree.
This was entertaining through a very new way of doing film.
Yeah.
Yeah, like his later film Inception, I think it's still easy enough to follow while still being, sort of high-minded in its own way. And it's disorientating for sure. It kind of effectively captures his amnesia state, but you can still tell what's happening in the film, and it really has, when it all comes together at the end, when you figure out when you put it all together, it's quite the gut punch.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. The second film I'm going to go is something a little controversial. I'm going to go The Prestige. One of my favorite Nolan films. It's not one that's very well known. He did this in between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. I mean, he's kind of always done a film in between the Batman trilogy that he pumped out. And this was an opportunity for him to get out of that big studio system, flex his muscles with a smaller budget. And it's an amazing story. It revolves around magicians and this rivalry between Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, and then these two magicians trying to one-up each other.
Batman v Wolverine.
Yeah, to my great shame, this is a movie that has for a very long time been on my list, but I have not gotten to yet, and I still need to see it.
Great shame. I've just realized this is the first Nolan film I ever saw.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it really is kind of a good introduction to his style.
So you saw this before you saw Batman Begins?
Yeah, never saw that at the cinema. That was kind of a low-key movie in its own way. It was a real slow burn because this was right after the Clooney film tanked that franchise hard.
Yeah.
So I remember being like, oh, there's a new Batman.
And you look at the box office for that, it made like $380 million. And if that happened today, it'd be like, you fucked up.
Yeah. Nolan never makes another film. But yeah, Prestige, awesome movie. Really cool. Another kind of mystery that you kind of put together as it goes. And it goes to some weird places. And it's very cool.
And Bowie's great in it, playing Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
It's got it's got like this kind of early 19th century steampunky kind of style almost. It very closely gets into that steampunk realm. I mean, if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Nolan's films often have a time travel element, and this one does in the way it just intercuts.
Don't ruin anything.
I'm not ruining anything. It's just in the way he tells the story.
Okay.
It's very interesting. That's my number 2 pick. And then my number 3 pick, my favorite Nolan film, and a favorite for a lot of people, is Inception, 2010 sci-fi extravaganza. I was obsessed with this film in 2010.
The world was obsessed with this film in 2010.
This is... Sometimes you come out of a film and... I don't even know how to describe the feeling of watching a near perfect film. Like this for me was it.
And for at the time, it captured everyone's imagination. I remember I had just started working at the cinema that we all worked at together then, and I just remember this surge of excitement from the general public about this film. But yeah, I mean, Inception, I'm sure most people have seen it. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
Why you listen to us when you could be watching Inception?
So this is really interesting because you mentioned your list before we started, and you've
Yeah.
actually switched it in the meantime.
Yeah.
Because you had
I had the Dark Knight. So
in
I
there.
omitted that because everyone's seen the Dark Knight. Like, and
But this is for people that haven't seen. Well, I mean,
Nobody's seen
supposedly, supposedly for
everyone's
people
seen
that
it.
haven't
If you go see number 4 of the Dark Knight.
So I would almost say that you get. I would say go see the Dark Knight instead of the Prestige.
You haven't seen the Prestige.
I know.
So
but
there
simply
you go.
because I know
Case.
No.
My case
No.
is
All right,
laid.
look, that is the
Rest
the
my
kettle
case. That's what I'm
calling
trying to say.
black for someone that makes opinions about movies they haven't seen. George.
Opinions that I haven't seen.
There's a lot of hand gestures flying around the room right now.
When have I done that?
You do that all the time.
When?
I can't think of a specific example. What are you talking about?
That's Benny's
I
thing.
can't back up my
That's
argument.
Benny's thing.
I didn't think
drag
of
me
it.
into this.
Anyways, no. My point is that I know the style of Prestige of
No, you don't. You haven't seen it.
I've seen clips from it. I've talked to people about it. Stop interrupting.
Why
me.
are you trying to start this fight here? You haven't seen
I'm not trying to start.
Prestige. Why are you
I'm
trying to
just
change the
saying,
place?
like, in
No,
my
I think
opinion,
it's good that you brought this up.
in my opinion, I would go Dark Knight because if you want to get like a spattering of his different styles, I think that Memento and Prestige, from my understanding, are relatively similar, both in the scale of the production and
No.
So nothing like-
Prestige has so much because of the period setting. It has so much more costumes and sets.
Memento's an indie film.
Yeah, Memento's
size.
like a guy in a hotel room.
Yeah.
and walking around LA.
Okay, that's fine.
That's kind of why I wanted to bring these 3 up because I think they're good little milestones in his career of a small film, a little bit of a bigger film, and a massive tentpole film. So that's why I picked these 3. But yeah, Dark Knight. It's obviously everyone considers that or Inception his best. So
yeah.
but yeah, that's my like little guide to Nolan.
We'll do an extensive one. I think is probably what's coming down
Sure.
the pipe.
Yeah, I think that's a natural
going
extension.
through his entire
Yeah.
back catalog.
Cool.
We're going to finish off on a question of the week that has been sent in by Jess.
Jess, thank you so much for your question.
You're welcome, George. I don't know
Wow.
why I felt like that needed a response. That was weird.
What is this question?
Look, the question is, what is your favorite chick flick? And it's a bit of a weird question because I wasn't entirely sure what a chick flick was. I mean, it's generally just either one that stars a woman or is about love or anything icky like that.
Yeah.
Anything with cooties.
Yeah, so it's a fairly broad kind of range.
What's a girl?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say we're all pretty strongly against the categorization of films into something as silly as that one's a chick flick. We're not going to watch that.
Yeah.
But it's certainly a distinction that exists out in the world's
Yeah.
perception.
It's part of the reason that I'm interested in Atomic Blonde because I want to see how people react to that film.
Yeah.
It's almost like feeding the trolls. Anyways, do we all have a favorite chick flick type film?
I've been talking a lot recently, so I'm going to head over to you guys to go first.
He's still thinking of his favorite.
All right, I've probably got like a ton I could throw into this. I'm always happy to watch a sappy film, but that being said, a lot of romantic comedies really suck. But when you see a good one, I think it really stands out. And one that's kind of stayed with me from when I was younger, and I actually just watched it again earlier this year and loved, is 10 Things I Hate About You, starring Heath Ledger.
What a great film.
Heath.
Good old Heath. Yeah, I just think this movie is so much fun and just an amazing, beautiful 90s artifact with this awesome soundtrack.
So much so.
Yeah, and just really, really quite effectively emotional as well. That ending speech, the poem of the title, 10 Things I Hate About You, is like, it just brings me to tears. It is so beautifully delivered. And what I really like about this film is that the whole teenage cast are pretty much entirely actually teenagers. They're all about 18 years old. Heath Ledger
It's a rarity.
was 20 in this film, I think, which blows my mind because I look at him and I'm quite a bit older than that now, and I'm like, man, that guy is a man.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could grow up to be like him at 20. What a loss to cinema that is, Heath Ledger. I had to
So
bring it down,
sad.
but
So
Man, it's
sad.
watching anything he did in his whole career, really.
Yeah.
But especially this, he just oozes that charm, that smile of his.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
Did you enjoy Knight's Tale? Because I love that film.
Yeah, that's got a huge cult following nowadays. I think I've maybe seen it once
I've never seen it.
when I was younger.
It's-
Yeah, I really want to rewatch it though.
Highly recommend.
That's the one with
it.
We Will Rock You, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
It is a silly kind of film,
Yeah.
but just thoroughly enjoyable.
Another
is
one of
the-
Heath Ledger's that I love is the Sydney-based one, Two Hands. I saw it a long time ago when I was a kid, but it's stuck with me. It's a fun film, and you can see the early days of Heath Ledger. But yeah, I think that's a good pick.
Yeah,
Do you have a-
that's one I could watch anytime.
Yeah. You still thinking, George?
Nah,
Should
I've got one. I got one. I'm gonna go with. I feel like this isn't a chick flick though. Mean Girls.
I think that'd be defined as a chick flick.
That's absolutely like in the.
That's the chick
But I
flick.
feel like that's so the mass appeal of that film is there.
But yeah, but in the narrow mind that would be like, oh, is this a chick flick or not? They would absolutely consider that a chick flick. It's about high school girls.
Anyway, that's my pick.
But that's a movie.
I agree with
That's a
you.
movie by women for women. I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah, I guess.
Which definitely makes
Yeah.
it a chick flick.
Love this film.
Yeah, great
love it.
pick.
I can
It's
put it
really
on
great.
any day of the week. Love Tina Fey in it. Love Lindsay Lohan before she went off the rails. She was such a sweet kid. You look at
She's such a good kid.
no, seriously.
What
you look
happened to
at,
our little Lindsay?
yeah, seriously. You look. It's funny. Yeah, seriously. And you look at something like what was that one? Freaky Friday. Like what? And then what was the one where she did she played her sister.
Look, my Lindsay Lohan filmography is not up to date. I'm gonna say.
Like, she really went off the rails. Poor girl. Hollywood just shat her out. Sorry, that's a bit. Anyway, yeah. I mean, Mean Girls. It speaks for itself. Everyone loves it. It's an obvious choice.
It's hilarious. It's one of the best comedies
So
over the
funny.
past couple of decades. Yeah.
It's so funny. Amanda Seyfried. Like, there's some big stars in here.
yeah. Before they were famous.
Before they were famous. And who's the Canadian girl? The nemesis in this?
I don't know.
The Notebook chick.
Oh yeah. From that Marvel movie.
Mean Girls. Oh yeah, she was in Doctor Strange. Yeah. Wait.
This is gonna be well
Wait.
worth it.
Leave all this in.
Wait. Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
Love Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, that was
You're right. That was worth it.
There we go. That's my pick.
I would also just want to chuck on that as well. A movie I feel like is kind of in the same vein, Easy A,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is probably not quite as well
Love that
loved, but I really enjoy that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Condor.
For me, it's the romantic comedy Crazy Stupid Love, which again, I'm not sure if it's a chick flick, but it does get slotted in there because it's a romantic comedy essentially. But I mean, this film is, I love this film. It's so funny and it is so. I mean, when it wants to be serious and when it wants to kind of make an impact, it does that. When it wants to be funny, it is hilarious. I mean, the scene with Kevin Bacon, just that the entire reveal of this film, like the twist of this film, is possibly one of the best twists in film.
Mm-hmm.
And just I remember watching it and just getting sucker punched by it. Absolutely love that film.
Kevin Bacon's in the movie.
I hope he is. Otherwise, I'm remembering that weirdly.
Or are you thinking of Steve Carell? Oh wait, I was thinking of X-Men First Class. Damn.
No, he's definitely in there. Yes, yeah, it's Kevin Bacon. Why you gotta make me freak out like that?
Yeah. I've only seen this film once in the cinema when it came out, but I really enjoyed it. I have fond memories of it. Steve Carell's great. Ryan Gosling's always great.
Did you guys come out of this film wanting to be Ryan Gosling as much as I did?
Yes.
Oh my
I
god!
was like,
Just that-
I need to be that guy, and I'm going to spend every waking moment.
It's like an iconic image in my mind. Just his shoes, like walking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Spill water over
George,
yourself?
so smooth. Speaking of Ryan Gosling,
Yeah.
I drink of the water.
Spoiler alert: George did not get to Ryan Gosling status.
So-
For anyone who's not watching because we're not filming this, I just tried to drink some water and I spilled it all down my front. That was smooth. I just thought of Ryan Gosling's beautiful face and I was like,
his beautiful asymmetrical face.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you tried to pour it just left a bit.
Oh, that's not where my mouth is.
Yeah, it's just a great film.
It's a great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great choice. Thanks for your question, Jess.
Good one.
That got us thinking. If you want to send your question to us, we do this every week because the segment is called Question of the Week. Send your question to the podcast strikes back official @gmail.com or just hit us up on our social channels. Send us a PM, send us a DM. We're on Facebook and Instagram at the podcast strikes back.
Send us a DP.
Hey. Whoa.
Display picture?
I was thinking dick pic, but either way.
No.
Just one point of order before we finish up.
Yeah.
Something I want to address from our Spider-Man Homecoming review.
Yes.
Can we get some like solemn music? Can you edit some solemn music in here as Ben makes his official apology?
No, hold on. We stated rather emphatically that...
you stated.
That, well, we all agreed. That
when you say something, we agree.
Absolutely.
If you say something, we blindly accept.
Me
we
too.
just assume that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, go on with your apology.
It's not an apology. We stated that
what should be an apology.
that Spider-Man: Homecoming score was the MCU debut of Michael Giacchino. Of course, that is not true. He also scored Doctor Strange last year.
He copy pasted his Star Trek score.
Yeah, exactly. We were just making sure you were listening. So,
yeah. So go listen to that review.
You passed.
Yeah.
A lot of lovely comments.
Well, that's it, guys. The first episode of our weekly movie show that wasn't top 8. I think that went pretty well. A few little segments in there. We'll be back next week.
We always appreciate feedback. If
Yeah.
there's something that you liked about the show, tell us. If there's something that you didn't like about the show,
Tell
fuck
Connor.
yourself.
Go fill in a 100-page survey on the podcast.
No, we do genuinely enjoy good feedback.
Yeah.
Um,
We're always trying to improve the show. We're going to have video soon. So, yeah, lots of exciting stuff happen at TBSB HQ. Yay! And on that note, we'll call it a day. Condor.
hello.
And Benny's.
See ya.
See you next week, guys.